Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Carl's Christian Podcast. Today, we are talking about a hot topic: how the new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China are hitting U.S. consumers. If you don't know, President Trump has been putting tariffs on these three countries. And if you don't know what tariffs are, they're basically a tax that's imposed for exporting and importing of goods from different countries. So, yeah, let's see what this video is all about. Subscribe if you're new to the channel.
President Trump is slapping stiff tariffs on America's top three trading partners: Canada, Mexico, and China.
They owe us a lot of money.
I actually did not know that Canada was a very close partner of the U.S. in trading. I probably should have known that since we're connected.
And I'm sure they're going to pay.
Trump is imposing a 25% tariff on nearly all goods from Canada and Mexico, and an additional 10% on imports from China. Mexico's president negotiated with Trump at the last minute, putting the tariffs on Mexico on hold for a month. Meanwhile, Canada is planning retaliation.
Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs.
Here's how Trump's new tariffs are different.
I didn't know that Canada supplied America with a lot of oil, 60% apparently. I did not know that. That's a new fact.
And why many economists and politicians say you, the consumer, might have to pay the price. To measure the impact, let's look at the numbers. The U.S. imported roughly...
Y'all need to start planning your own stuff and making sure you have your own products, because stuff could get expensive, or maybe not. I've heard this is a risky move, and it can go either way.
$893 billion worth of goods from Mexico and Canada in 2023. Nearly all of those imports will now have a 25% tariff, meaning if an American importer wants one of their goods, they'll have to pay that tariff to the U.S. government.
Consumers will likely notice this quite quickly in the cost of fresh produce at the grocery store.
Almost all of America's raspberry, strawberry, and avocado supply comes from Mexico.
I'm gonna be real.
Almost all of America's raspberry, strawberry, and avocado.
This is not affecting raspberry, strawberry, and avocado. I can live without these. I don't even eat these ever on a daily basis.
Supply comes from Mexico, as well as most of the country's supply of beer and tequila and mezcal.
None of this applies to me.
On the other side, the U.S. gets about 80% of its frozen French fries, 70% of its lumber, and 60% of its maple syrup
from Canada. So we get French fries, lumber, and maple syrup, a huge percentage of it from Canada. I can live without maple syrup. I don't really use it that much. Lumber, we got plenty of lumber in America, or we should. I see a whole bunch of forests when I'm out driving. I'm joking. Frozen French fries.
Canada.
It's a really big deal because at the moment we really don't have tariffs on any goods coming from Mexico and Canada under the free trade agreements that we have in North America.
In fact, 99% of America's natural gas imports come from Canada. On February 1st, Trump announced a 10% tariff on Canada's energy products. Trump's tariffs risk pushing Mexico and Canada into recession, as both nations send 80% of their exports into the U.S. But Canada is planning precision strikes against U.S. exports, and the impact of that could be contrary to what Trump claims.
The tariffs are going to make us very rich and very strong.
Since Canada has a much smaller economy, it can't impose the same impact on the U.S. But Canada is betting that if it causes enough disruption, Trump, who campaigned on lowering prices after a period of elevated inflation, will back down.
Like the American tariffs.
I'm gonna be so real. I don't see President Trump backing down from these tariff stuff, the tariff agreements, or the tariffs that he's putting on these countries. I feel like one of these other countries are going to back down first, because I don't think he's going to change his mind.
Our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American
Do not like him.
beer, wine.
I do not like this guy, the president or the prime minister of Canada. President of Canada, prime minister.
And bourbon.
Mexico's president struck a deal with Trump for a 1-month pause on U.S. tariffs on Mexico. In return, she agreed to deploy 10,000 Mexican soldiers to the border to fight fentanyl trafficking.
Y estoy segura que en este mes vamos a poder dar
This month we'll be able to deliver good results
buenos resultados
for the U.S. people and
a su pueblo, buenos resultados al pueblo de México.
China also signaled that it's eager
She
to
seems like a decent
get trade talks going with Trump. While it's unclear what will happen next, experts say a trade war between the U.S. and its largest trading partners would hit U.S. income, hurt employment, and increase inflation. So if all of that is true, why is Trump so keen to use tariffs?
Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits.
I think most people do see Trump using these tariffs as a bargaining tool. He wants something out of Canada and Mexico.
The White House said the duties would remain in place until Mexico, Canada, and China stop fentanyl smuggling and illegal migration. But there are some industries that might benefit.
The U.S. steel industry and domestic aluminum producers have been asking Trump to raise more tariffs against imported steel and aluminum. They say Mexican factories have been dumping a lot of very low-cost steel and aluminum in the U.S. against commitments that Mexico has made over the years, and that those low-cost imports have undermined U.S. producers who have higher costs and forced them to idle or close factories.
It's unclear how long Trump plans to leave these tariffs on. Some experts say that decision will be the biggest measure of its impact.
This is very interesting, actually. Like, I've really been trying to get back more into like watching politics, learning more about government, and so this is actually really. I might not be commenting a lot, but it's a really interesting to see how all of this works.
If the companies feel that Trump is just leaving these on short term in order to, get something out of Canada and Mexico, they're not going to rip up their manufacturing footprint.
At the center of all of this is the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement.
Our own Wall Street Journal reporting has shown that some of Trump's aides say that he's actually pushing both Mexico and Canada to renegotiate the free trade agreement that we do have.
And these tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China might just be the beginning.
Eventually, we're going to put tariffs on chips. We're going to put tariffs on oil and gas. We're going to be putting tariffs on steel and aluminum and ultimately copper.
We also expect to see some confusion and probably delays at the borders. We could see goods backing up in warehouses as different trading partners try to sort through the new rules. So all of that is probably ahead in the coming days and weeks.
Interesting. What do you all think? Comment down below. Do you think that this whole new tariff plan will work? Do you think that by putting tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and raising tariffs on China, and eventually doing it for other goods and stuff will give America a bigger profit? Or do you think that this is all going to backfire? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. And yeah, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I will see you guys all in the next episode. Have a blessed day.